The archaeologist Margarete Gütschow has been a personality of the first half of the 20th century. Although there is a little about her work and her role, she carried out many interesting researches and studies. Margarete Gütschow was born in Lübeck in 1871, in one of the city's most rich and wealthy families. At the beginning, she studied in a teacher's feminine school, but she spent her time in a culturally free and lively milieu. Once arrived in Rome in 1910, she started to work and collaborate to the Real Catalogue at the German Institute of Archaeology. When the First World War broke out, she was forced to come back home. Therefore, in 1918, at the age of 47, she enrolled at the University of Berlin to study classical archaeology, and her mentor was Ferdinand Noack. She never completed her academic studies with a PhD, so she never obtained a real academic qualification. In the same period, she also met Gerald Rodenwald, the Corpus der Antiken Sarkophag Reliefs director, and they started a very long-lasting collaboration. Margarete Gütschow devoted her life to archaeology, and her studies focused mostly on funeral sculpture. Her most famous work concerned the restoration, the museum exhibition, and the subsequent publication of the numerous classical sarcophagi fragments found out in the galleries of Pretestato's catacomb in Via Appia Pignatelli. Through this study, she obtained the title of the German Institute of Archaeology Ordinary Member and the honorary PhD in 1946. She also gave her interesting and relevant, even if not well-known, contribution to some Corpus der Antiken Sarkophag Reliefs project. As for the role of Gütschow, particularly interesting and illuminating is the rich correspondence with Rodenwald, that during the years asked her photographs, measures, observations. In 1925, she had the opportunity to come back to Rome, where she had the assignment of acquiring photographs and researching there all the findings related to funeral sculpture conserved out of museums. The work consisted in surveys aimed at the wider project of the second volume of Antike Bildwerke in Rome review, of which the authors, Friedrich Matz and Friedrich von Thun, compile an accurate and precise catalogue. After about 50 years, Gütschow felt the need to check the reliability of the information by running through the same steps of the two German scholars again. So she revisited the same places and brought down which works were still preserved and which were wasted. Clearly the aim was creating a sort of personal archive that in 1933 enriched that of German Institute of Archaeology, in which merged 496 photographs. Photography substituted the mere description and represented a more precise and scientific mean that didn't give rise to hesitations or misunderstandings. Indeed, she documented and returned also images of findings and contexts which were subjective to transformations or which don't still exist. Palazzo Merolli in Rome represents a meaningful case of a completely dismembered collection, for which the Gütschow documentation depicts the memory of a current arrangement completely deleted. There is another consideration about Gütschow photographic collection that concerns not only the alienation of whole collection, but also the disappearance of fragments eventually moved, removed, or stolen. Gütschow, probably conscious of the easy leak, tried also to document findings put on the antiquities market. Through the images, she could acquire data related to pieces which probably could be forgotten, such as a sarcophagus fragment with a personification of the seasons, posted up on the external wall of Villa Doria Pamphili's Great Columbarium. Likewise, during the 60s, the sarcophagus with season, seen in the Palazzo Lazzaroni at Via dei Lucchesi, moved to a private collection through the Roman antiquities market. In similar fashion, the information gathered in some contexts in Lazio are very relevant. Turning over the pages of Gütschow archive, searching for materials and places from Castelli Romani, we can recognize Villa Ferraioli in Albano, where the two Etruscan sarcophagi with the dead lying down look still complete and placed in front of the entrance. At the time of the discovery, the works were in good condition, but today is no longer the case, because once moved outside and after that vandals stolen the heads and broken one of the lid, they are now located inside Villa Ferraioli, today the Albano Museum. In that period, it was also possible to visit Palazzo Ginnetti in Velletri, destroyed by Allied bombardments in 1944. Among the rich collection that decorated the palace, Gütschow focused their attention on a sarcophagus in the garden and on another one wall up over a door, decorated with scenes drawn from Jonah's cycle. During the Mazdun review and the fieldwork, Gütschow was interested in finding events and happenings of which he knew the existence. These findings were moved outside Italy, like the sarcophagus with putti and garlands. Next to the photograph, there was its placing in the Museum of Stockholm, but originally it came from Frascati. One of the proofs of those researches is given by some letters where we can find questions and information exchanges among colleagues. For instance, in 1931, Gertrude Bing, Aby Warburg's assistant, sent to Gütschow some photographs about the 7 sarcophagi of Baltimore's Walters Gallery. Bing wrote Gütschow the same things that Mr. Walters told her. During the excavations carried out from January 1885 on Via Salaria near Villa Bonaparte, they discovered 2 underground sepulchral rooms that preserved 10 marble sarcophagi in all, and some of them had valuable decorations. Gütschow's research on pieces moved overseas is particularly supported by letters received from American museums that sent also some photographic material. By the way, the archive of Harvard University has kept the correspondence between Gütschow and Georg Hanfmann. They had an advantageous and useful information exchange, in particular about the sarcophagi with seasonal themes, on which they both were working on. Gütschow classified as lost the sarcophagus belonging to Barberini collection. She still remembered it in the Roman palace, but afterwards her colleagues informed her that he had a new arrangement in the Fog Museum. Hanfmann mentioned also another sarcophagus with clipeus and personifications of the seasons, entered for a few months in the Buffalo's Albright Knox Art Gallery, New York, already mentioned in the Mazdun and recently come back on Antiquities Market. As I said before, for many years, Gütschow worked also to the drawing up of her volume of the corpus about Jahreszeit and sarcophagi. Unfortunately, she could never complete it on account of her old age and also because of the objective problems facing the research during the Second World War period, when she was troubled by many serious financial problems that forced her to come back to Germany, where she died in 1951 at the age of 80. Her noteworthy merit, until now never acknowledged, was certainly that of creating a rich photographic archive through which diverse information arrive until the present time, not only concerning the existence of ancient works of art, but also collections that time, without this work and research, would have delayed in some cases. Thank you.